She cheated her husband, then gave birth to her ex in the next life. She broke her sacred vow to love only him. 25 years later, she gave birth to a child who looked exactly like her ex-lover. But what this child taught her about forgiveness will shatter everything you think you know about love, karma, and second chances. This isn't a story about punishment. This is a story about souls who love each other enough to come back and heal. Her name was Catherine Miller, 32 years old, married to David for 8 years. They had what everyone called the perfect marriage. Beautiful home in the suburbs, successful careers, plans for children. But perfection, Catherine learned, can be the loneliest place on earth. David was a good man, reliable, faithful, present, but somewhere between the mortgage payments and dinner routines, Catherine felt herself disappearing. "Dear Buddha," she would whisper in moments of desperation, "please help me feel alive again. Help me remember who I am beneath all these roles I play." Then she met Marcus at a work conference. Marcus was everything David wasn't: spontaneous, passionate, dangerous. When Marcus looked at her, Catherine felt seen for the first time in years, not as David's wife, not as the perfect suburban woman, but as Catherine. Raw, real, hungry for life. The affair lasted 6 months, 6 months of stolen moments, secret phone calls, lies that came easier each day. Catherine told herself she deserved happiness, that David wouldn't understand, that this was just temporary. But nothing stays hidden forever. David found the text messages on a Tuesday morning, the photos, the hotel receipts. His world shattered in silence. No screaming, no throwing things, just quiet devastation. "Why?" was all he could whisper. Catherine had no answer that wouldn't sound selfish, no explanation that wouldn't break his heart further. I felt lost," she stammered. "I needed to feel alive." David looked at her with eyes she'd never seen before. Not angry, just empty. "And I wasn't enough to make you feel alive?" The divorce was swift, clean, final. Catherine moved in with Marcus, convinced she had chosen love over obligation, passion over comfort. But Marcus wasn't built for everyday love. He was built for the thrill of taking someone else's wife. Once Catherine was free, the excitement died. Within a year, Marcus found a new married woman to pursue. Catherine found herself alone at 34, carrying the weight of destroying a good man's faith in love. "Dear Buddha," she prayed through tears, "I thought I was choosing happiness. Instead, I chose destruction. Please help David heal. Let him find someone who will love him the way he deserves." Years passed. Catherine remarried eventually, a kind man named Robert. At 42, after 3 miscarriages, she finally became pregnant. The pregnancy was difficult. Months of bed rest, constant worry, desperate prayers. "Dear Buddha, please let this child be healthy. Let me be the mother I never had the chance to be. Let me love unconditionally." When her son Thomas was born, Catherine experienced love she'd never imagined possible. But as Thomas grew, something strange began happening. At 2 years old, he would stare at old photos and point to David. "That's my friend," he would say. Catherine's blood would freeze. How could Thomas know David? How could he recognize a man from her previous life? At 3, Thomas began having vivid dreams. He would wake up crying, talking about the broken man. "Mommy, the broken man is so sad. He thinks nobody will love him. I have to help him." At 4, Thomas drew pictures that made Catherine's hands shake. Pictures of a house he'd never seen. David's house, complete with details only David would know. The red mailbox, the crack in the front steps, the garden David had planted for Catherine. At 5, Thomas began asking questions that shattered Catherine's carefully constructed peace. "Mommy, why did you hurt the broken man? He loved you so much. Why did you choose the mean man instead?" Catherine tried to explain. Sweetheart, those are just dreams. You don't know these people. But Thomas looked at her with eyes too old for his face. I know because I am him, Mommy. I came back to help you understand. Catherine thought her son was confused, imaginative, creating stories from fragments he'd somehow overheard. But then Thomas said something that stopped her world. The broken man, David, he prays for you every night. He asked Buddha to help you be happy. Even though you hurt him, he still loves you. I came back to show you what real love looks like. Catherine felt the universe tilt. Thomas, that's impossible. You can't be, you're my son. Thomas smiled with wisdom that didn't belong to a 5-year-old. Souls don't have one shape, Mommy. Sometimes we come back as parents, sometimes as children, sometimes as strangers who teach us lessons. I chose to be your son so you could learn to love without conditions, so you could understand what you threw away. Catherine began researching, reading about reincarnation, past life memories in children, soul contracts. She found Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a psychiatrist who specialized in children's past life memories. Thomas told Dr. Rodriguez things that made Catherine weep, details about David's childhood, his favorite foods, his secret fears, his dreams for their marriage, things Catherine had forgotten, things only David would know. Mrs. Miller, Dr. Rodriguez said gently, in my 20 years of research, I've never seen a case this clear. Your son appears to carry David's soul. And if Buddhist teaching is correct, souls often reincarnate into families to heal unfinished business. That night, Catherine knelt by Thomas's bed and asked the question that terrified her. If you're really David, why did you come back as my son? Don't you hate me for what I did? Thomas reached up and touched her cheek. Mommy, hate is just love that forgot its way home. I came back because I wanted to show you that real love doesn't break when you break promises. Real love doesn't leave when you make mistakes. Real love stays and teaches you how to love better. Catherine sobbed. But I destroyed you. I destroyed us. You destroyed one story, Thomas said softly. But love writes new stories. Buddha gave us another chance. This time you get to love me without fear of losing me, and I get to love you without fear of not being enough. In that moment, Catherine understood something profound. Karma isn't punishment, it's curriculum. Reincarnation isn't cosmic revenge, it's cosmic education. Thomas hadn't come back to torment her. He had come back to free her, to show her that love transcends betrayal, that forgiveness heals both the forgiver and the forgiven, that souls who love each other deeply will find ways to love each other better. The Buddha taught that we are all each other's teachers. Sometimes we teach through joy, sometimes through pain, sometimes through leaving, sometimes through returning. Catherine had taught David about betrayal. David was now teaching Catherine about unconditional love, not through words or sermons, but through the daily miracle of being her child. Every tantrum Thomas threw taught Catherine patience. Every tear she wiped taught her compassion. Every night she tucked him in taught her what it means to love without keeping score. David's soul was healing her by letting her heal him. This is the mystery of karma. It's not about getting even, it's about getting whole. How many people in your life might be souls you have loved before? How many difficult relationships might be opportunities to heal old wounds? How many strangers who trigger you might be teachers in disguise? Catherine learned that every soul we meet is either someone we need to forgive or someone who needs to forgive us. Sometimes they're both. Thomas is 8 now. His memories of being David are fading, as past life memories often do. But the love remains, the healing continues. The lesson deepens. Catherine has become the mother she never thought possible. Patient, present, unconditionally loving. And somewhere in the quantum field of consciousness, David's soul smiles. knowing that love found a way to transform pain into wisdom, betrayal into understanding, endings into new beginnings. If you're carrying guilt about someone you've hurt, if you're holding on to anger about someone who hurt you, remember Catherine and Thomas? Remember that love is the only force in the universe strong enough to heal across lifetimes. That forgiveness doesn't excuse the past. It creates space for a new future. That every soul we meet is an opportunity to love better, choose wiser, be kinder. Share this story with someone who needs to know that no mistake is unforgivable, no wound is unhealable, no love is ever truly lost. Subscribe for more stories that remind us we are all walking each other home, lifetime after lifetime, until we remember how to love without fear, without conditions, without end. And remember, dear soul, the Buddha taught that consciousness is eternal, love is indestructible, and every ending is just a new beginning in the endless dance of souls learning to love. The question isn't whether you believe in reincarnation. The question is whether you believe in love strong enough to transcend any mistake, heal any wound, bridge any distance. That love exists. You are part of it, and it will never, ever give up on you.